And we're back. If you're just joining us, this is game number 2 of the Lady Eagles volleyball season. They're taking on Trinity Baptist College, a team they just beat about 20 minutes ago in 4 sets. Lady Eagles winning sets number 2, 1 and 2. They lost set number 3 and ultimately came away victorious in 4 sets. Lady Eagles improving to 1-0 on the season. We're coming to you live from the R. Horton Sports Center Arena. I'm Noah Frary. You'll be hearing me a lot this season, and Carrie Ordway joining me. She'll be joining me in just a couple minutes as we look at this game. A former Lady Eagles volleyball player under head coach Landra Grant just a few years ago. We're going to continue to watch the Lady Eagles as they warm up the arms and get ready for game number 2. We'll be back with a couple minutes to go to break down what to expect in this game and to go over starting lineups. And we're back here. You now see Trinity Baptist to my left, your right on the television screen, warming up as we get ready for game number 2 here in the Arlen R. Horton Sports Center Arena. Lady Eagles coming away victorious in game number 1, winning that 3-1 against Trinity Baptist. Hannah Doro finishing with 10 kills, Ginger Cannon finishing with 11. Carrie, a great performance for the Lady Eagles other than that third set. You know, I said early on, I didn't know what to expect out of this team, but they were a lot of fun to watch. Yeah, they were a lot of fun to watch. It'll be interesting to see how this match goes. I'm not sure how many of the same players will be playing throughout the match, but it should be exciting. Absolutely. You saw on the last game, Hannah Doro really stepping up. Really, a lot of the freshmen in general. You even saw some great games out of Kayla Boggs at the setter position, Kenzie Folker. That was a talking point in game number 1. What are you going to see out of this young team, this team that, you know, their average age is under the age of 20. They've got one senior, and I really think they stepped up and played well. Obviously, room for improvement. Repetition's going to do that. I think one of the talking points from game number 1 that was big was trust, Carrie. Yeah, absolutely. Trust and communication. And you mentioned that we saw a lot out of the freshmen, but honestly, you're going to be hearing that throughout the season because our team has a lot of freshmen in it. So that should be a common theme throughout the season, that we're seeing a lot out of our freshmen. And I'm sure a little part of you kind of died in that first game because we like to talk about defense, but we didn't talk about defense a lot because they played so well. Yeah. I talked to Brooke McLeod in between these games, and I said, hey, what do you think about playing libero? It's different. And it was kind of hard to read her. She had a mask on, but, you know, she said, I really like it back there, and I could kind of just see that Brooke McLeod smile like coming through the mask. And she said, I really like playing with Hannah back there, and I think you saw that in game number 1. Hannah with 10 digs, McLeod with 10. McLeod kind of leading the way on serve reception with 23 that she had. But ultimately the defense playing very well and led to us ultimately not having to talk about them a lot because there wasn't a lot of mistakes. Yeah, they did a good job. The big part for defense is just being able to help the setter be able to have even just the option of making a play. You know, at the beginning of every volley, you see the setter calling out the plays that she wants to run. But if you don't have a good pass up to that setter, she's not going to be able to run any of those. We're going to throw it back to the court and let you hear the sights and sounds of the Nest as we get ready for the start of this one. We're going to do some starting lineups, no national anthem, and we'll be back for game time.
At this time, please stand for prayer. Thank you, Lord, for this day, and thank you for the gift of life. We pray for the safety of the players, and may everything be done to bring you glory. In Christ Jesus' name, amen. You may be seated. Tonight's sports medicine coverage is provided by the Andrews Institute and Baptist Healthcare, the official sports medicine provider for Pensacola Christian College. Starting tonight for Trinity Baptist College. Number 1, Maisie Fawcett. Number 10, Haley Crosby. Number 11, Anna Quianes. Number 17, Maggie Burkholzer. Number 18, Chloe Johnson. Number 23, Carlin Pointer. Trinity is led by Coach Bennett. And now your Pensacola Christian College Lady Eagles! Number 1, freshman from Davison, Michigan, Hannah Grove. Number 3, the sophomore from Cleveland, Tennessee, Bethany Campbell. Number 8, a sophomore from Burleson, Texas, Hannah Gerald. Number 12, the senior from 96, South Carolina, Ginger Cannon. Number 15, a sophomore from Fort Walton Beach, Florida, Jessica Johnson. Number 18, a junior from Simi Valley, California, Brooke McLeod. And number 19, a freshman from Phoenix, Arizona, Kenzie Volker. The Lady Eagles are led by Coach Kaylin Ullman with assistant coach Suba Leota. Officiating for tonight's game are John Evans and Harold Vogel.
And we're back as we get ready for this second game. Carrie, I think I'm kind of liking that little tradition right there. You run up to the 10-foot line, the 3-meter line, some people call, and you kind of like wave at each other. I think that's kind of fun.
Just have a friendly wave.
Yeah.
Socially distanced.
So maybe like we need to practice our waves. Like we could practice our waves so that like we could do it with them. Like we should really do that over the course of the season.
I did just see the Eagles waving to someone in the stands.
It's probably their
collectively.
teammates over
Yeah,
there. I mean, we're all
maybe.
social distance at this point. You and me have got this wall between us. It almost took me out in game number 1, kind of having to hold it up. So, and then, you know, the other thing, if you're tuning in and this is your first game of this season, another one of the weird things that you're probably not used to seeing, the teams aren't going to change benches. And actually, I got to admit, these 2 changes I really like because we get to see this Lady Eagles team directly in front of us, which normally they'd be going back and forth, and I really like that. So some good changes so far other than maybe this wall.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Same starters for both teams here in game number 2 of the season. Macy Fawcett, Haley Crosby, Anna Quinones, Maggie Bergholzer, Chloe Johnson, and Carlin Pointer starting for Trinity Baptist. And for the Lady Eagles, you've got Hannah Doro, Bethany Gamble, Hannah Jarrell, Ginger Cannon, Jessica Johnson, Brooke McLeod, and Kenzie Folker. Those are really the main people that you're going to see in the rotation here in game number 2. Look out for maybe seeing a Paris Miller get some action. Look out for JL Cross potentially getting some action here in this game. Lady Eagles coming away victorious in game number 1. Trinity Baptist, they made it interesting in that third set, won the third set, and they were playing well in set number 4, but the Lady Eagles ultimately putting their foot on the gas and closing that one out, Carrie.
Absolutely, and then even watching Trinity come back out after this break that we've had between the 2 matches, you know, they look energetic. They look enthusiastic.
Bergholzer, service, as Jarrell first 2. And here's the attack by the lefty, Gamble, and going to be a net violation on Trinity. I believe that one was on Pointer, if I can read the official's fingers correctly. You know, another thing, I'm learning all sorts of things today, Carrie. I used to always wonder, like, whenever they called net violation, they do like a fist and like a 2. And I was always like, well, there's not who's that out on the court, and I realized that's like in the fist is like 1 for volleyball and the 2. So I learned something else new today. Lady Eagles get the surprise kill on the back line. Wells kind of pointing to her head. She says, I'm not going to make that mistake again. Johnson back to serve with her team leading. A good short serve. McLeod, I like that cover. Cannon, the timing off right there. Folker, the freshman, she's loving it right there. Got, you know, a little jumping around, little smile, a good play there by her to find that opening in the center of the Trinity Baptist defense.
Yeah, when that hole is there, it works to go to.
Carrie, I think the one thing that may be taking out of the first game and into this one that you've seen, the Lady Eagles, a lot of service mistakes so far, and I think a lot of that just comes with repetition. You'd hope to see them clean that up throughout the season, but it almost looks like they're trying to be a little too fine right now instead of just getting the ball over the net.
Yeah, that's going to be really fun. I mean, that's fundamental. That starts the play. If nothing else, you need to be able to get your serves over. Hopefully, there's going to be something else, but that should just be something that's second nature. You shouldn't even need to be really thinking about it at this point.
And there is the first substitution in this second game of the day. That's Paris Miller checking in for Jarrell. She's been a little off there early on, and now they're going to give Miller a chance next to McLeod.
We had Miller coming in for Johnson in back row there.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You saw Johnson play all the way around in the first set, so head coach Kaylin Oman going to give Miller a chance. And kind of right into the frying pan as she picked up the first serve reception after coming in. That pass by Miller ended up over the net, and Trinity Baptist able to get the point.
Yeah, and we just saw a mistake coming from our setter being in back row. She kind of instinctively jumped up there to help block that
And she
pass.
can't because she's a back row player.
Right.
If you're new to the game of volleyball, those back row players, so in this rotation, Folker's really a back row player, and you're gonna see her come up she's gonna stand right behind this 10-foot line. She'll come forward, wants to serve, And she can't attack. She can't let her hands get above that top of the net. So you'll see that's something to watch for in this game. Cannon with a good strong serve. Looking for the ace. Pointer gonna scramble. Just got it over. Doro set up. Here's Gamble off the block and good. Bethany Gamble picking up the kill as the Lady Eagles take a 5-4 lead. That's that left-handed swing from the right side you were talking about.
Yep.
And kind of creates some fits for that block. And there she is again. Gamble make it. With another kill, back-to-back for Bethany Gamble. Didn't play a lot as a freshman, but Carrie, you and me were discussing in game number 1 just the role that she may play on this team, and she's going to be asked to play more this season, and I really think she's primed to maybe be that breakout player for this Lady Eagles team.
Yeah, we keep talking about who's going to be that breakout player, who's going to be the second hitter or whatever, however you want to put it, but honestly, we've got quite a few people who could step up to the plate for the Eagles this season, and hopefully it won't just be one of them that's stepping up, but collectively they'll all be all those breakout players.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately you say, hey, who's the one? But if all of them were to break out, this could be a very talented Lady Eagles volleyball team, and they've already proved to be a lot of fun to watch. Seeing a freshman like Hannah Doro in the first game, picking up 10 kills, and there was, probably even an opportunity for more from her. So really that's exciting. I think, you lose someone like a Jasmine Baldonado, you lose someone like a Bailey Jensen, and you think, well, obviously the talent level is going to go down. I think the talent level is the same, and I think the ceiling may be even higher with some of the players out here in the future.
Yeah, and we've mentioned the athleticism of the girls on the team right now. I think there's a lot of potential for their talent to kind of catch up with their athletic ability as well.
Kayla Boggs back to serve. You mentioned in game number 1 that you were pretty impressed with her service, and there she picks up an ace. Boggs in game number 1. I'm trying to look at the ace column. She had 3 aces in game number 1, 4 now with that one. I've been pretty impressed with her, another one of those talented freshmen. A swing and the miss, and that one turned into a header. 9-6 Lady Eagles as Boggs continues to serve behind the back line for the Lady Eagles, and yet another ace. Sometimes the ball just rolls off the arm, and Kayla Boggs doing a good job right now as the Lady Eagles lead 10-6. She's been serving for the last couple. Boggs now gets an assist from the net, and that's going to lead to the first timeout here in set number 1. Head coach Leah Bennett has seen enough. 11-6 Lady Eagles. We're going to take a break. We're back. Lady Eagles lead 11-6. We're almost midway through this first set. Kayla Boggs still serving. She's had aces in 2 of her last 3 attempts. And a good, strong serve as the freshman continues to build confidence. A double hit by Trinity, and Boggs going to get another opportunity. I've been so impressed with her early on, even doing a good job as a setter. We mentioned, coming in a freshman, and there's yet another ace. Kayla Boggs, have yourself a set. Playing extremely well, both upsetting as well as from behind the line right now.
Yeah, and it's got to feel great getting all these serves, but also aces in a row.
Going for it yet again, but that one's sailing just long. I really like to see as these freshmen continue to gain confidence. it's fun to see as, they're playing well, and that confidence you hope ends up being contagious for the rest of their teammates.
Absolutely. A lot of times, like I mentioned before, they can just bring an excitement to the game that the people, your upperclassmen on the team who have kind of been around for a little bit, they might not have that same excitement that the freshmen have coming on.
Another interesting thing as we look out on this team, I look down the bench. This is really head coach Kaylin Oman's first team where it's all her players. And I think that's big. I mean, maybe Cannon. I can't remember if Cannon was recruited before her time, but I don't think she was. But, looking down the bench, that's got to be exciting for a coach to now you've spent 3 years trying to instill culture. I think we can both say mixed results. Over the last couple of seasons, she's head coach Kaylin Oman, 51-47. Last year, going 13-22, but second, getting to a region championship. But now having a team that's all yours at some of this point. Nothing against her predecessor, Landra Grant, but ultimately you've now had players that have kind of changed to the coaching style and maybe gotten used to it. And I think that's going to be something to watch out for this season as we get deeper into the year. McLeod with the overpass. Bergholzer, the setter, tried to attack it. A mistake there by Trinity Baptist. Cannon now coming in as they do that little, I call it like a little olé as the libero and them kind of all do this little changeover. McLeod's service. Here's Pointer now. McLeod diving, but not able to get it. Give Carlin Pointer the kill. She led the way for Trinity Baptist in game number 1 with 7 kills to lead all players for Trinity Baptist. Crosby now back to serve. That one into the net. Lady Eagles leading 17-9. Folker gonna check in. Also gonna have Gamble coming in for Boggs. We mentioned in game number 1, Carrie, that's the 6-2 rotation that head coach Kaylin Oman has him. You're gonna see 2 setters in, 6 hitters. And so you'll ultimately see a lot of subbing from the Lady Eagles this season. Folker somehow got that one over. And yet another mistake up front for Trinity Baptist. Lady Eagles up by 9, looking to close out set number 1. Cannon feasting on the overpass right there. Something that she has made a living on over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, definitely something that we've seen a lot from her. I think that's just an easy hit for her when she sees that coming over.
Especially with the vertical that she has. That's got to just be fun. Pointer into the block and got the kill. Good job there by the sophomore, Carlin Pointer. The block was there, but ultimately, I think, Carrie, when you're blocking, you tend to want to get your hands maybe a little bit more above the net and try to force it down on their side. It seems like maybe they're a little bit too far off the net, and that's how Pointer was able to get it in there.
Yeah.
Free ball now. McLeod first to it. Folker back. Here's another one of those back row attacks. Gerald doing that to perfection. And Trinity just having to scramble. 4 hits now for Trinity Baptist and the Lady Eagles, first to 20. Cannon, she had 11 kills in that first game. Career high for her, 14. She did it against LaGrange last season. During last season, she had 7 games where she had over 10 kills. And so you team her up, and even Bailey Jensen missing a lot of time last year. I think that really allowed Ginger Cannon to mature even a little bit more as a volleyball player and really proved to be a pretty lethal force on the offensive end.
Yeah, and I think we'll see that continue throughout this season as well, especially as she steps into that kind of senior leadership position on the team.
Did she step on the end line on that service?
Yep.
That's not something you see an awful lot. Lady Eagles picking up the point. I think Trinity Baptist really kind of shooting themselves in the foot right now early on in this first set. A few costly errors for them. Here's a good attack, and that one just missing. You have to love that cross-court attack there by Fawcett, though.
Yeah, and we mentioned in the previous match a little bit about her having experience playing defense as well, and not necessarily a hitter, but being a really skilled hitter as she's playing right now. But a lot of times with those shorter hitters, you'll see them go cross court to give them a little bit more room to work with.
Well, and we mentioned in game number 1, too, head coach Leah Bennett talking with her before the games today, she mentioned really looking to recruit athletes. And that's what Macy Fawcett is. She, as we talked about in game number 1, in the volleyball court, 454 digs in her career, but also, close to 200 kills, so very talented. But then also she did it on the basketball court, a 12-point-per-game player, 3 rebounds. So that's what, bringing in athletes yet again, and I think that you're going to see that pay off. She was mainly a libero in high school, but good attacking so far out of her.
Once again, we saw that the Eagle setter coming back and taking that first touch rather than one of the defensive specialists who was right there to take it. I think that's one thing that we'll see clean up a little bit with more experience.
Yeah, and I think experience and trust. I mean, we've used that trust word an awful lot today. But, I mean, ultimately, some of that is just, wanting to, trust the players behind you and realize, as you mentioned in game number 1, I'm a defensive player. My role is to play defense. My role is not to hit. Now, if I have to hit, I'm going to do it. But at the end of the day, knowing your role on this team, and I think that ultimately elevates the level of the team as a whole. Yeah,
and one thing that helps that, one of the key parts of being a defensive player is being vocal enough to let those people in front of you know what you're doing, what's happening on the court, because you have the best view of the court. You're in the back. You can see everything that perhaps the front row players can't.
Hunter off the top of the net. And, I mentioned in game number 1, color commentators, it's good to have a defensive player. I even look at, Kaylin Oman over here, a defensive player. It makes a good coach because you really do, even a libero, you get to see the whole court more so than maybe a Cannon who's up front playing because her sole focus is attack the volleyball. Oh, miscommunication there. Hunter and Doro, they both thought each other was going to go for it, but that one leaning on that side, and that's a great opportunity for head coach Kaylin Oman to get up, do a little bit of coaching there, this younger team early on in the season. Fawcett back to serve. Johnson laying out to get there.
And that's one of those places where a little communication would go a long way, especially in the back row. You got to make sure you're loud enough, once again, that the front row knows what you're doing, even when they can't see you.
Did Doro play in the back row in the first game, or is that a little wrinkle that we haven't seen?
No, she's not playing in the back row right now. I think she was just pulling back to cover the serve receive.
I see.
Yeah, she's still a front row player.
I didn't know if maybe she was kind of getting back a little bit, maybe moved into that position, but I think you're right. Here's Gerald now, her serve. The libero Wells got there. Attacked by the setter Bergholzer. And that one into the net. Lady Eagles take set number 1, 25-15. They start strong yet again here in this set. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with set number 2 as the Lady Eagles look to continue their role here on the first Saturday of games.
You only have one life. What are you going to do with it? This is a place where you can be empowered to fulfill God's calling and pursue your passion.
I had told my pastor before coming here, I was like, I don't really like school, but now on my 3rd year, learning is so much fun.
Incrementally, we're ready to do more, we're ready to face more, and to say, this may not be the easiest thing I've ever done, but it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done.
Teaching is communicating facts, but the bottom line for me with teaching is connecting the material so the students not only know it, but appreciate it and also know how to use it.
We have great faculty, and they honestly inspire me.
They'll constantly tell you, if you need something, come talk to me. You can have a really good teacher-student relationship. And that's one of the reasons why I chose PCC, is to have faculty that love God to help me further my spiritual walk with Christ.
Faculty are saying it's going to take hard work and dedication to be the best at whatever you're doing for God's glory. Everything that I see here is Christ-centered.
Why is PCC here? It's to change lives to make them more like Christ.
They want students to make an impact on the world. I think their goal really is to change the world, and they do it one student at a time.
We're back here for set number 2. We're working on the wall in between me and Carrie. It fell over again. I took a headshot on that one. But we're good. It looks like everything's good to go. Set number 2, Lady Eagles so far early on in the season. They've won 4. They've lost 1. Starting off strong, though, seems to be an important thing. We mentioned in game number 1, Lady Eagles just 14-21 in first sets last season. And Carrie, when you're playing from behind, there's a little bit more urgency, you know, maybe the tendency to press, and I think maybe that's where you even saw some of the mistakes last year. And so getting out to a good start is going to be important for this Lady Eagles team.
Yeah, and definitely a good momentum boost to start out that way.
Pointer, free ball picked up by McLeod. Gamble, the timing off a little bit, had to roll one. A desperation play there by Cannon works out. Volker, good movement. Johnson. What a play there by the libero to get underneath that one. There was not much room between there and the hardwood. Cannon hangs in the air, goes left-handed, and picks up the kill. That's the athleticism that we've been talking about.
I don't know if that was intentional or not. I wouldn't put it past her for that to be intentional, but it was very definite, convincing swing there with her right hand before she did contact it with her left hand.
An ambidextrous hitter up front, Ginger Cannon. We've seen her do it a couple times, honestly, where she goes to that left hand. The official waving his flag back there.
There is an antenna violation.
He was really getting into it. He was halfway across the court.
Yeah, and as that line judge official, that's your job is to wave the flag to indicate that there is an antenna violation. And he had been waving it, but the up official had not seen it yet. So he was rather animated in his attempt to get the up official to see that.
I completely respect that. I got my start in volleyball back when head coach Kaylin Oman was coaching over at PCA. I was quite the line judge back in the day. You can ask her. We'll have to ask her in an interview, but I was a killer line judge back in the day. Jack Oman over here, he didn't feel like I did a good job. I tried to be as fair as I could. But I appreciate the effort out of the back judge over there. Lady Eagles leading by 3 here in set number 2. Volker back to serve, a low and hard serve. And that hit attempt by Bergholzer sailing past the sideline on the far side. Lady Eagles lead by 4. Volker, another hard one. You've seen a lot of free balls here in this game. The Lady Eagles service, and there's Cannon again. That was a left-handed swing.
Yep, another left-handed swing.
Head coach Kaylin Oman over here just laughing. The athleticism of Ginger Cannon making up for the bad set and able to get the kill. That's fun to watch. Gerald sets it up. Johnson going to try to attack it off the pass by McLeod, and Trinity able to cover.
We've seen some nice digs coming out of the defense over the last few plays.
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned in game number 1 we didn't talk about the defense a lot, but a very good defensive game, and I think you're even seeing it again. I really am starting to like this combination of McLeod and Gerald. I think they're playing extremely well together, and we didn't see Gerald a lot last year, so it's been good to see her get some time, and she's playing well.
Yeah.
Lady Eagles getting all the rolls right now. They lead 6-1 as Hunter checks in on the front row. Gerald going to exit as Johnson back to serve. Johnson sends one across. That was Fawcett, first to it. Now the good attack. She's got quite the vertical. Volker now with the attack. Curry, we've talked about that a few times. Just kind of getting used to the college game and maybe wanting to see the setter use her hitters up front a little bit more than she is in this game so far.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird play because she did take the first touch, which was good. It came straight to her, and I think that was a good call. And I'm not sure which of the hitters set it up, but they set it up back to her, which is kind of a funny choice since she is a back row player. But I think that was probably just a oversight, perhaps.
Lady Eagles get the point. Doro now in on the front row. She was impressive in game number 1. 10 kills in her first match as a Lady Eagle.
Not a bad start.
Not a bad day at the office.
Oh, another antenna call. This one was identified a little bit earlier than the last.
He didn't have to run halfway across the court to notice this one. Cannon now, you've seen her too throughout this game. She's kind of going back and forth on this back line too to kind of look for different zones, different angles as she's trying to serve.
Yeah. And defensively, that's a little bit harder to deal with because you know, if a person's serving from the same spot over and over again, you can kind of get used to their mechanics. And
is that harder as a server? I know you've served, so is it harder to go back and forth? Does it? I don't know. I've never played.
I think it's just what you're used to.
Okay. Gamble now sets it up, and Hunter working up and underneath that one as it sails past the end line. (9-3) in favor of the Lady Eagles. Trinity Baptist, Katie Gooden serving. Volker right on the net, and that's a great play right there. It kind of, you know, she was either going to have to try to get into the net and try to push it back, or just, you know, almost like what you would see in like collegiate volleyball, that just little punch over, and it just got in. Now you'll see Jade Halverson checking into the game. She's going to head back and serve. Her first action as a Lady Eagle. She grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada, and her first serve going out. She's a setter / outside hitter, so she's gonna. It looks like she's gonna play setter in this rotation. That'll be interesting to see, as really the only setters you've seen so far in the first couple of sets have been Boggs and Volker. 5 setters in total on this Lady Eagles team. When I went to practice, there's still a couple girls that have to pass a physical for this year, but head coach Kaylin Oman really putting an emphasis on having a lot of setters. Carrie, and I've always been curious, one of the things that head coach Kaylin Oman likes to do, she has larger rosters. How difficult is that, as, you know, ultimately maybe some of your #1 players maybe aren't getting as many reps? Is that, you know, coaching philosophy? Thoughts on that?
Well, I don't know. I've never been a coach, so I don't know if I can tell you too much for the coach. I can tell you from a player perspective, it's a little bit interesting when you have a deeper bench. It's nice to know that you have more people in waiting, more people training to come up and fill in those spots. But sometimes if you're one of those players who's not getting as much playing time, which there are going to be more of those players the larger your team is, it's a little bit harder to stay committed, to be able to sit that bench for a year or two while you're getting that. Sure. While you're getting that experience. But, you know, if you sit the bench, for lack of a better phrase, for a couple of years, and you use those years to really hone your skills and learn from the older players, then when you jump on the court your sophomore or junior year, you're ready to go.
Well, and I think that's something that different that maybe you see at this level that maybe you don't see as much at the next. a lot of times when you play at a higher level, maybe Division II at the NCAA level, there's a lot of times where you are coming in and sitting as a freshman and sophomore, and really more so at this level, you do see someone like a Hannah Doro who's really able to come in and make a difference as a freshman.
Yeah.
And so it is a different mentality there to kind of be used to sitting at the end of the bench and kind of, be the setter and waiting. We'll call it that.
No, this is kind of interesting watching Jade come into set because she's a few inches taller than either of the other setters that the Eagles have had so far this season in the first game and a half or so. But you can even see that come across in her setting a little bit. She seems to have a little bit of a better idea of the timing with some of those taller hitters because she is a taller hitter herself in addition to being a setter. And she's been able to kind of push those sets a little bit higher so that our hitters can get a good angle on them and fully extend and come down.
Now, we talked about this a little while ago. Obviously, the Lady Eagles more in this 6-2 formation. Does having a taller setter, does that play to a different style, rotation because of having that taller hitter?
Yeah, so,
setter, excuse me.
If we were playing a different style of rotation and Jade were setting, potentially she would be setting from the front row, which she could be setting and be a hitter at the same time. When you have situations like that, it's a lot more common to see the setter taking the second hit because they're a viable hitter as well. But coming from the back row, obviously she's not going to be taking that. And we'll actually probably see her doing fewer of those kind of pushovers like our other two setters like Boggs and then Folker have been doing. Because if she jumps at all, she's going to be over the net. Yeah, so that would be an illegal attack.
Interesting point there. She, in her high school career, her senior year, she played at Liberty Baptist Academy out in Las Vegas. I believe that's Pastor Tice's church. But her team that senior year going 14-10, so she's been on a winning team. So that's one of those players that you wouldn't even mind having kind of as a, right now maybe a third-string setter, but someone that comes in with a winning pedigree and, is going to be a good asset to the team. And, it won't surprise me as we go on in the season. I think you've got two good freshman setters right now, but that could change. Like, there could be a, constant mix-up to see ultimately who's going to be my go-to.
Yeah.
Rollover attack, and, you've mentioned even Greider can do a little bit of setting, and you saw her do that right there.
We keep seeing our setters taking these first touches.
And so that's leading to Greider having to then set.
Yeah, which thankfully Greider being on that right-hand side is kind of in the setter position anyway, and she does have that setting experience. So if that's going to happen, she's a great one to have up there.
Now, ultimately, too, you'll see, right before big kill there, Abby Greider.
And if you noticed, you saw that pushed up just a little bit higher so that Abby could extend, and that let her actually get the full swing rather than needing to roll that over or dink that over.
Some good things. You're liking what you're seeing out of Jade Halverson so far in this match. McLeod, the libero, in service. Wells, the libero for Trinity Baptist, tried to get that one over, but it sails past the end line as the flag from the back judge goes up. Here's McLeod now. Cannon, just an imposing presence, didn't even have to get her hand on that one, but causing some, maybe that front row player to think a little bit as she was going up.
Yeah, absolutely.
17-7 Lady Eagles. It'd been a little while since I've done a score check. Carlin Pointer making it 17-8. Lady Eagles winning set number one in this match, 25-13. They lead by 9 here in set number 2 as they look to improve to 2-0 on the season. A shortened season nonetheless. We mentioned last year Lady Eagles playing about 36 games, a little over that. And then this year you're going to play under 20. So these games do mean more. You have less games to improve. And ultimately, so far, the Lady Eagles taking advantage of the opportunity. Volker back in, a good serve. Another good dig by Bergholzer. Pointer chased it down, but not able to get it over. Lady Eagles up by 11 here in set number 2. They're going to look to close it out. Going to be an ace there by Folker, and I love the energy I've seen out of Kenzie Folker so far in this game, the excitement that she brings. I've seen a couple big plays from her, and she's jumping around, she's screaming, and that's fun. Now you're going to see J.L. Cross, and the front line just got a little taller, Carrie.
Yep, by a lot of inches.
Cross, a middle hitter from Birch Run, Michigan. She went to Bridgeport Baptist, another one of those schools up in Michigan that have seen us get several players from. McLeod sets it up. Gamble, the left-handed attack, and a good block there. Pointer and Gooden teaming up there. Pick up some block assists. Cross now. Stepping back on defense. She played for Arsenal Volleyball Club primarily as a middle blocker.
Makes sense when you're 6'2". Good dig by McLeod.
Lady Eagles giving up a point right there. Trinity Baptist back within 10.
That was kind of interesting. You saw a pretty good dig by McLeod on a tough hit, but I think because of the lack of experience with the front row players at the moment, you kind of had them all crowded up and created a little bit of a traffic jam there at the front.
Double hit there. Lady Eagles, 21-10. You've seen Cross, she kind of seems lost out there a little bit. I don't mean that in a bad way. It just seems like getting used to this new rotation out there. She's gotten caught back on defense maybe a little bit. She's not able to get up to the net, which is ultimately where you want her. Hunter jousted at the net. Now Cross, and she's going to pick up the kill.
Yep.
That's exactly where you want her right there.
I was going to say she was where she needed to be for that one.
6'2", probably a wingspan, maybe a couple more feet there, and big smiles from her as she picks up her first kill in her college career. I think she could be a very good player. It's just probably going to take her a little bit of time to get used to the college game as, now transitioning to college and getting used to other setters. We've been talking a lot about that. Good serve by Johnson now. Volker just kind of punches that one over, and it lands out of bounds.
That was a tight pass up to the net. That's one of the what I think, and obviously I'm not a setter here, so would be one of the more difficult things is learning how to take those less than ideal passes and still being able to get a good set off of it, which is no easy task by any means.
Moesha Jones, she checked in a few moments ago. She's back to serve, a left-handed serve.
That's going to be a rotation.
Trinity Baptist out of rotation. We haven't talked a lot about Trinity Baptist so far in this game because the Eagles have been playing really well. But the one thing you have seen from them, there's been a lot of scrambling, a lot of free balls that have been coming back across the net. Just not a lot of great offensive opportunities for Trinity Baptist, which maybe is a little bit different than you saw in set number one.
Yeah, when you mentioned something like scrambling, I think that kind of testifies to the athleticism of this team that Trinity has been building, that Coach Bennett has been building, is that even if they can't quite get into position to be able to really run those offensive plays, they've got a lot of athleticism and a lot of heart, like you mentioned, to be able to at least get that ball back over the net in a lot of situations.
The defense has been able to cover a lot of some pretty hard hits. I mean, when you've got Cannon sending them back across, I think the defense has done well. They've just struggled to, maybe get the pass to the setter and then ultimately setting, up one of the hitters. You saw it again right there.
It was a great pass by Johnson. Gave the setter lots of opportunities to set up that kill.
Hunter with a changeup right there, and that's going to do it here in set number 2. Hunter with the walk-off kill as the Lady Eagles win the second set 25-11. They take a commanding 2-0 lead as we head to set number 3. We'll take a break and be back for third set action. Hunter picking up the last kill there in set number 2 as we head to set number 3. We've got about a minute before we get there, but we've been pretty impressed so far with this Lady Eagles team here in the first couple games. I just got handed a fresh stat sheet. Let's take a look. Cannon leading the team with 2 kills here in this game. She had 11 in the first game this afternoon, but the Lady Eagles playing well. They lead 2-0 here as they look to pick up victory number 2 on the season. They won the first one in 4 sets. A good job by Trinity Baptist to take a set. Head coach Kaylin Oman had been 29-0 before they took that set from them. I really can't say enough for some of the things that head coach Leah Bennett and Trinity Baptist are trying to do. It's been a tough go of it for the last couple of seasons, but you can see a increased athleticism on this team, an increased heart. You know, attitude was one of the things that she mentioned. And I think over the next couple of years, this Trinity Baptist team could really become a strong volleyball program. They've got the pieces. It's just going to take some time. Officials looking at both rotations now. Lady Eagles have been in the same rotation for most of the game. McLeod at libero. Her and Doro, have been switching in and out. Gerald on the back row along with Folker. Head coach Kaylin Oman has to be pleased with her team's performance. There's obviously plenty to continue to work on, but coming into a season with a roster as young as this, we mentioned an average age for this team of just under 20, about 19. Actually, I think it was just under 19. Excuse me. A very young squad, and so far they have played well in this game. They've been exciting to watch. There's been a lot of emotion from these freshmen who are going to get asked to do a lot. Here's Folker now to gamble. And that's going to be out of bounds. Lady Eagles getting point number 1. Carrie, I got to admit, it's just been fun to be broadcasting again. It's been so long since you and me have jumped in together. And, you know, even for me, I haven't done a game since March, which has seemed like an eternity. The last game I did was some baseball over at the University of West Florida. So it's just been fun to talk again. I like to talk.
Yeah.
So I think I fill the role okay. Lady Eagles picking up the kill there. They lead 2-0 here in set number 3. They had a chance in the first game to close it out in 3 sets, but they weren't able to handle it. You'd like to see them potentially handle it here in the second game. And there's Cannon getting her hands in the way of that ball and picking up the solo block.
Yeah, that just really shows Cannon's, volleyball IQ. She saw that pass was going to be tight to the net, and so she just anticipated that that's what the setter was going to do, tip it over, and so she was there ready for it.
Johnson short with that one. We've mentioned Cannon. She's, well known for her ability to, pick up kills. But at the end of the day, too, also a very talented blocker. She was second on the team last year with 57 blocks, right behind Bailey Jensen, who just had a way of getting her hand on everything. Cannon, really a good all-around volleyball player. We've even seen her play the back row a little bit. Free ball now. Cannon gets it. Folker. Here's Doro. And she picks up the big kill. Hannah Doro. A great set height right there. We've been talking about that. And really Doro able to get up, get extended, and finish that one.
Yep. It's just that balance between you want to have that quick set to keep the pace quick, but it still needs to be high enough to actually extend, for the players to extend over it.
A good hit there by Fawcett. Ultimately, it doesn't matter with the double hit by the setter, Bergholzer, but a good hit there. I've been pretty impressed with Macy Fawcett. Some really good athleticism out there on that outside hitter position for Trinity. That's served by Cannon into the net. I would say if there's one thing the Lady Eagles could clean up, there's been a lot of those balls into the net from, service. And I think that's one thing you'll continue, you'll see them continue to improve on throughout the season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pointer up to Fawcett, and she gets the winner down the near sideline. Trinity Baptist within 3. Volker gonna look for Hunter in the middle. Big swing, and she's gonna find the corner back there. I think the setting has been a lot better, and you're really seeing some good attacks out of the Lady Eagles here in set number 3.
Yeah, these last few plays, those sets have really been at a good height. It still even seemed like Hunter might have been a little bit cramped just on that last one, but she was able to get a good swing in.
Boggs back into the game. And that swagger that you've seen from her from behind the service line, that one sailing a bit too long. And Trinity Baptist picking up the point as I believe Fawcett heads back to serve. The ball's bouncing all over the place. Fawcett's service finds the arms of Johnson. Here's Boggs, backside Hunter. Give her the kill. Brittany Hunter. She was one of those players we talked about that, you know, Ginger Cannon mentioned might be that person that really starts to step up and become that second hitter, and you've been impressed with her so far in this game.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that's impressive about her is we were just talking about how it's a little bit difficult when you come on as a freshman and you don't really get much playing time, you're sitting on the bench, but even last year when she was on the bench, she was exactly what you want from the bench. She was always encouraging her team, always involved in the game, and cheering her team on, and I hope that she'll be able to receive some of the same thing from her bench this year as well.
Boggs set up Johnson, double hit though. Trinity Baptist hanging around here in set number 3. A couple unforced errors by the Lady Eagles. A high serve. Johnson first to it. Here's Greider in the middle. Now Doro. That one a little low, but somehow Doro able to flick it over and pick up the kill. Cannon now checking in. A good crowd out here. It's been fun to see fans, you know, in the stands. Obviously doing some social distancing up there. But it's been fun to be out here and experience the environment. You saw the spotlight there a moment ago on Hannah Jarrell, now on McLeod. Both of those two playing extremely well on defense for the Lady Eagles. And they're going to call a tip. I'm not sure who got a hand on that.
I think Cannon.
You saw maybe her
She
signaling.
called it as well.
She's calling it on herself.
Yep. But the backline judge doing his job, he saw it immediately, called it.
Crosby sends it across. Boggs, I like that. Did a good job there of finding that opening. You mentioned earlier on, it's not going to be there against all teams, but sometimes you take a point when you can get a point, and with the Lady Eagles maybe struggling a little bit in this third set, it was a good way to mix it up and pick up a point. Boggs and Greider out. Volker back to serve. And Pointer off the block for Trinity Baptist. She's been one of the bright spots for this Trinity Baptist team. She led the team in kills and digs last season, and she's continued to be a force on offense, something that head coach Leah Bennett can really build around. Good job there by the libero to kind of track that ball in, and then once she was confident, she let it fly.
Yeah, and once again, you saw the two defense players back there. You saw Jarrell and then McLeod working together, communicating back and forth to know that that ball was going to be out of bounds.
Johnson now back behind the line. I believe they're talking about rotation again. Lady Eagles coming to the center. All in all, though, Carrie, it's been a good day of volleyball for the Lady Eagles. Some things to obviously continue to work on, but you have to be impressed with what you've seen from them.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a good way to start out the season. Obviously, it's going to give you a lot of confidence moving forward, but it's kind of nice for this being your first game to be able to get some of those first game jitters out, be able to perform well. I think this is something that they can look back on and learn from some of the things that they might need to improve on a little bit, but also be able to look at a lot of things that they're doing well.
You mentioned, obviously, these first 2 games, Lady Eagles looking to go 2-0. Their next game going to be on the 18th, right here at home again against Bruton Parker, a team that they went 1-1 against last season. Lady Eagles going to look to continue to keep it rolling. Then they're going to travel down to South Florida to play Trinity, Florida, Johnson of Florida, and then ultimately Trinity Baptist as well. Really a consolidated schedule for the Lady Eagles this year, mostly inside the South region. And head coach Kalen Ullman has been extremely successful inside the South region. So you have to like, the Lady Eagles, the possibilities for this season as they continue to grow. Trinity Baptist, after playing these 2 games, they're going to take on Weber International on the 12th, and then Kaiser University on the 23rd before a string of home games. Lady Eagles going to be one of those on the 26th. So that's kind of a rundown on some of the upcoming games for both teams. For the Eagles, go ahead and head over to pcceagles.com. If you ever have a question about the schedule, it'll be me and Carrie again, hopefully on the 18th. You should probably get used to hearing us this season. So we're looking forward to that and looking forward to watching this Lady Eagles team continue to improve and grow throughout the season. Gamble finds the back.
I like that. That hole's been there throughout the day. I haven't seen the Eagles make too much use of it, but Gamble saw that and was able to place the ball right in it. That was good. Good choice.
And, playing right into the left hand, that makes it a little bit easier probably to find that. Cannon up with it, the overpass. And she's had a full meal of plays on the overpass this year. Ginger Cannon, a lot of kills off of mistakes.
Yep.
Johnson floats one low, but it's effective. Volker sets up Hunter, the big swing and the kill for Brittany Hunter. And the Lady Eagles loving it. They lead 16-7. I've really been impressed with the front row. Just on 3 separate possessions right there, you saw the 3 players up there pick up a kill.
Yep, that's true. That's a good point.
All in a slightly different manner, but the Lady Eagles offense looking potent here early on in the season. Here's Fawcett now. The block gets to it, but out of bounds. That was Gamble and Cannon. Pointer back to serve and going to see a substitution. Quinones, I believe the lone senior on this team. So both teams really dealing with young squads. Quinones and Cannon, the only senior for the Lady Eagles. Here's Hunter with the attack off the block, and she's going to get another kill. Brittany Hunter leading the way here in game number 3. Cannon back to serve. Is that an out of rotation call again, Carrie?
I'm not sure. I haven't actually seen the official give a signal.
Either way, Lady Eagles picking up the point. I guess that technically goes down as an ace for Cannon. Cannon another serve. The attack by Fawcett. Here's Hunter again. Another good hit. Now the overpass. Volker, the back set to Gamble. You mentioned how much you liked seeing that every once in a while in game number 1. Those back sets. 20-8, Lady Eagles here in set number 3. And you're going to see JL Cross checking in again for Hannah Doro. The 6'2" Cross from Michigan checking in on the front row for the Lady Eagles. Cannon continues to serve for the Lady Eagles. That one out of bounds. 20-9 Lady Eagles here. We're deep into set number 3 as they look to secure their second victory of the season. Second on the day as well. Cross thought Hunter was going for it. Hunter thought Cross was going for it, and it lands on the Lady Eagles side. Trinity Baptist picking up the point, and that'll put Katie Gooden, the freshman from Jacksonville, Florida, at the line. Here's Hunter in the middle. Big attack. Brittany Hunter, have yourself a day. Playing extremely well on the front line for the Lady Eagles. We mentioned who would become that second presence up front. You saw Hannah Doro be that in the first game, but in this game, it's been all Brittany Hunter, and she's playing extremely well.
Yeah, a lot of times those stats come with just availability as well, and she's been available. The defense has been doing a good job of making sure their passes are getting up to the setter so the setter can run that offense, and the hitters can complete those kills.
A double hit there by Trinity. Cross, you saw getting the block right there. I think that's something we're going to probably say a lot this season. Her hand, when it's up, is already over the top of the net. Fawcett with the back row attack. Halverson just threw an arm out. Now McLeod with a back row attack, and that one finds the back corner.
Wasn't sure if that was going to make it in, but
I didn't think it was either, and
no.
it just died right in the corner over there. A great play by McLeod. Lady Eagles could secure it, and now out of bounds, 23-11. Lady Eagles needing just two. Carrie, we've now almost watched 2 full volleyball games today. What's the thing that's probably impressed you the most?
I think even the level of consistency that we've already seen from young players. I was thinking about that even with this game. A lot of those players who had been starting over the first game and then this one as well, they're showing that consistency that you hope that you can continue to see them develop throughout the season.
I think we've both been impressed with the defense in this game. Hannah Jarrell and Brooke McLeod really playing well up there. I think there's a lot of positives to take from this. Now, I'm not going to use the word negative, but maybe where's an area right now that you'd say in the next, 13 days before your next game, where's the biggest area you'd like to see them continue to improve?
Well, I think the obvious answer is serving. You never want to see those service errors. I think just overall familiarity with one another, increased communication, and just being confident of what your teammates are going to do, what they're capable of doing, and then relying on them, having that trust, like you've mentioned, to actually accomplish that. I think that will help them see that become a little bit more well-oiled. Looking to see those sets get a little bit higher so those setters or those hitters can extend, I think will be a good thing.
Grider for the win right there. Lady Eagles picking up the third set victory and sealing a second victory on the day. The Lady Eagles have been impressive, and we've grown accustomed to this tradition of now they wave across the court. Lady Eagles waving there at Trinity. Lady Eagles picking up the victory and moving to 2-0 in the season. Head coach Kaylin Oman improving to 11-0 against Trinity Baptist in her brief 3-year, now working on year 4 coaching career. Carrie, thanks for joining me tonight. It's been a pleasure, as always. It's been fun to get back out here and do a little broadcasting, and I'm looking forward to teaming up with you throughout the season.
Absolutely.
To all you guys out there watching, thanks for joining us. Make sure you keep up with your Lady Eagles volleyball team. Head over to pcceagles.com, and if you can't get on there, head over to Facebook and Instagram. They do a good job at keeping up with scores and things that are happening with the team. So thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see you again on the 18th.